Hey YouTube. So Mela Synth and effects came out quite a while ago, but developer Nicolosi recently updated this so that now the third oscillator isn't just a sub square and the fourth oscillator is no longer just a noise. You've got 4 full oscillators, and each one of them can be assigned to a bunch of different waveforms with a whole bunch of different ways of modulating them in this great modulation matrix that just goes on for quite a while. And I really enjoy playing with this because it's got these... Well, let me just show you. The way that you can shape all the waveforms is really cool. So we got just a simple triangle here, no effects. Let me hold this. So like everything has that, right, where we can change the shape of it to find some specific sound that you like within that. And there's even the trapezoid, which has got a lot of different shapes to it. And then there's the sine, which even that has a shape that you can change. But the phase distortion presents a lot of interesting things because now this harmonics thing just lit up. So now you can change the shape and the harmonics at the same time. And like, that's just wildly different sounds that we've got going on right there, right? Between that and everything in between. So I want to modulate this and kind of make a future bass sort of sound here. So I'm gonna take this very round sound here. Let me filter this a bit. Change this to 24 decibel. Give it just itty bit of resonance there. This the filters can also be morphed. This is all low pass, but it starts to get into band pass. That's pretty interesting. I'm not going to really play with that too much other than to try to find a nice round bassy sound there. And now I'm going to modulate the shape and the harmonics. So we've got just a whole lot of... I should be using the mouse so you see what I'm doing here. We've got 2 different envelopes just for modulations, as well as the amp envelope. And then we've also got some LFOs. So let me turn on one of these LFOs and set the rate way down. And if I go in now to the effects and modulation here, if I pick the source to be LFO 1 and the target to be oscillator 1, I can pick the shape or the harmonics, and I'm going to do that. So the one thing I don't like about Mela is I've got to constantly flip back and forth between this FX and modulation page and the main page. So we've got shape down at nothingness. We want to push this up. And then I'm going to bring in the LFO again here. And push this down as I affect oscillator 1's harmonics. And I want to now play with the rate of this LFO. I want to just screw around with that a lot using one of the 2 envelopes here. I'll use envelope 2 and just turn this on now into trigger. And I'm going to try to get something that's kind of round. Like bring this sustain way down here and just kind of make it a round sort of slope up and then down. Just a sec. I'm about to get a notification. Let me turn on airplane mode there. So right now the LFO is in it's moving really, really slow, and it's pushing those down into not hearing them at all. But now I want to use this to affect the rate of LFO 1. So I'm going to go into the effects and modulation, turn on the envelope 2 as a modulation source for LFO1's rate. And here I'm going to have to play with the... I have to turn off the hold so I can listen to how this envelope comes in. It's not really... Oh, there we go. So it comes in, it does some goofy shit, and then it stops doing the goofy shit real fast. And we can decide, like, it sort of sounds a little dubsteppy, I'll grant you, but we're not doing it in a dubsteppy way. We're just kind of doing it as a little bit of extra... like detail and texture in there. I'm actually going to change it away from being a sine wave in a minute here, but first I want to show you some of the other things that we can do with this. So let me bring in another oscillator here. I'm going to bring in a square, and I'm going to pan the phase distortion over to the left here, and the square over to the right. And I'm going to bring down... I'm going to bring down the semitones on both of these, actually. Let me find a good shape for that. Now I want to try to be careful with this square because it's going to get a little obnoxious in a second here, because I'm going to now modulate the shape using that same LFO that's modulating the harmonics and shape on the first oscillator. So take that LFO1, point this at oscillator 2 shape, and see what we can get here. All right, so right now it's, if we're just playing it like this, it doesn't have a lot going on with it. We're gonna build on this a lot in a sec, but we've got the option to play it quickly without doing any of that dubsteppy weirdness. But if we hold it down, we get the dubsteppy weirdness. So let's make the dubsteppy weirdness sound more interesting in a second here. I want to bring in a full rich sound before I take that out, though, because if I do what I'm planning on doing to it right now, it's going to sound super weird. So let's make this sound less weird. Let's bring in the trapezoid. Just find something that sounds really good with the trapezoid here. We'll keep that in the center. All right, let's just give me a nice little center warmth. And let's bring in the triangle now. Trying to listen for what I've got going on in the mid frequencies right now. I want to really warm it up, but I'm getting this kind of like a, you know what, I'm going to go with it. It's got this kind of a cold laser thing when I'm trying to add warmth with the drive, but this might actually work out pretty well. So let's see what happens when we now go over to LFO1, and instead of using a sine waveform, I'm going to change this over to sample and hold, which is basically just noise. So let's see what happens with this noise source now modulating the first and the first shape and harmonics, as well as the second shape, and all of that is going to be governed by envelope 2 modulating those, the rate of the LF1. So here we go. And that is what I was hoping for. It's got kind of a, like, it's very electric sounding, like electric crackling. I'm really liking this. Okay. I haven't even begun to play with any of the effects, but before I do that, I want to show you the routing option in here, which is really interesting. We can pick how we want these filters to be in here, right? We can either say that put the effects after filter 1 but before filter 2, or before filter 1 even, or we can change the way that this is going. We can make it parallel so that the effects are going separate to each filter. So if we have this after 1, we got it here, or we can say after both. So now they're both just regular parallel filters into effects. We can do shared split, where we're now splitting off different oscillators into different directions here. Do a 2 and 2 so that only 1 and 2 are going into filter 1, or a 3 and 1 where we're saying that this oscillator 4 we're doing something super weird with, and we don't want any of filter 1 on it. And now if we change where we want this to appear now, we can pop that in after, so the effects are now after filter 1 and not on oscillator 4 at all. What I actually want to do here is do it parallel, and then take, actually this is exactly how I want it. So filter 2 is going to be doing its own thing and not going into the effects, because I want to do a filter sweep on filter 2 that won't sound good into the effects that I'm planning on doing. So now that I've got this set up, I can just take what we've got going on right now with this one filter that we're hearing into the effects, because filter 2 isn't actually even on right now. If I cut this way down, we're definitely not hearing whatever is going on with filter 2 right now. So now we're just listening to filter 1 as I bring in the effects. I'm going to bring in some distortion. I'm going to mix this up just so I hear what it's doing. A really, really handy thing that Mela has here is if you grab on any of these little dots, it'll tell you what exactly is going on up here. So if we grab this, it's saying that I'm pushing the drive now. And now I'm really glad I had a limiter on the end of this channel. Find some place for that, and then we can tweak the tone. Really kind of boosting that mid. There's some interesting things you can get with different types and this asymmetry thing. So that's just adding a few extra harmonics there, kind of coloring it. But the fold back, when you play with this with the asymmetry, it's crazy. Like, let me start off with no asymmetry, basically no asymmetry. All right, it's more impressive when I have a higher drive on that. Oh god, I want to start modulating that now. Oh well. So now our noisy electrical weirdness sounds really weird with that asymmetry. It's not as electrical as I like it though. Actually, let's leave that as is right now. I'll come back to that if I need to. That sounded pretty good. Let's bring in the phaser. I'm just playing with this thing right now. Like, this is a crazy effect. I'm just trying to find something that sounds good here. Really want to play with this high feedback. Maybe not quite that high. Right, I really, really like how that's sounding. But that's obviously quite insane with a very high mix there. Just want a little bit of that. Alright, I think that's a pretty happy medium there. Going on, skip the chorus. Let's get the flanger in here because this is also going to be a nice weird effect. Do I want to push the feedback on this too? I think I do. Listen how crazy that sounds. Right now, you're missing a lot of the high mids because I'm filtering it weirdly to do the effects thing here, but alright, that is quite nice. Leave that as is and move on to the delay. Try to separate the timing on these a little bit. Actually, I think I want more on the left. God, I've ended up with some pretty insane tails with that really high feedback. Let me try to calm that bit. All right. Let's leave that as is for now. Yeah, and I'm going to go back now to really fine-tune these filters because right now they're not doing a lot for us. Switch this one into 12 decibel and keeping it in the low pass area here. I'm just going to try to find something that sounds good, but with a high resonance because I want to be doing a sweep. All right, I really liked how that was sounding right there. So let me get envelope 3 in here, where we're just going to do, again, there's a trigger here, and this is going to be set the way that a typical filter would be, where I'm just going to bring out the delay a bit and bring down the sustain entirely. And I'll probably play with this slope in a bit, but that's what it sounds like now. Let's modulate the filter 2 frequency using envelope 3. That's a little too much resonance. Let me try bringing that down a bit. It's a little hard to tell what's going on, honestly, at this point because of this complex routing. Like maybe I should have been doing that before I started playing with all the effects. Let me run through and turn them all off real quick. I swear I was hearing a difference. Is this... Okay, maybe I need to push this down and then have it come up from there. Okay. That's basically what I was looking for there. All right, nice. Let's try to tame that a bit. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to pull down that slope. There we go. All right, that's what I was looking for. Now when we bring in all the effects on the first filter, it should sound like we've got two very distinct things happening, but it's all tapping to the same sources. Oh god, that is awesome. I kind of want to give some life to that first filter, because right now it's not really moving around at all on its own. Let's bring down the cutoff a bit, and we'll use this same... was going to use the same filter here, but maybe not. We could try pushing it down, but I don't think that's going to sound very good. Let's give it a shot, though. Take envelope. I gotta keep remembering to use this mouse. Envelope 3 at filter 1's frequency. Let's try this. Gonna have to really tweak this one to taste. I just want a little bit of motion there. Like, I need to also balance these out. Right now the square is a little too quiet. All right, I'm going to stop right there before I start modulating any more things, because that's exactly how this video was going to go. Like, I'm going to just keep trying to throw more things in here because you give me this many modulation slots and I'm going to use them. But I think I've shown you everything that I want to be showing you. Like, this is a lot of great stuff that we've been able to create in a relatively short amount of time. Oh my God, that sounds good. Let me throw in a fugue machine at this and hear what this sounds like. So you hear how the short notes there. Close out of this so you can see what's going on in the fugue machine. These shorter notes, and obviously that's not a very good pattern, but like the short notes sound like normal, whatever, you know. Like, but as soon as we get into this long tail there, it's mad, but it doesn't sound like the dubsteppy sound that we started off with. This is much more modern sounding. It's very aggressive, but it's not goofy, too goofy. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much to all my Patreon patrons for making these videos possible. Take it easy, folks.